It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. Thanks very much for joining me today as we talk about real estate. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about some takeaways that I had from a real estate conference that I attended with some of the other agents that represent the top 1% of agents in the nation. We're going to talk about selling your home this summer, why it might be a good idea to sell, whether you need to sell or you're just considering selling. I'm going to talk about timing the market. I'm going to talk about what happens with appraisals when they come in less than your contract amount and a whole lot more. So if this is your first time tuning into the program, this is a program designed to help you guys better understand what's happening in this real estate market. I share my expert news and reviews of the market as somebody that's been selling real estate for the past 13 years here in Charleston. And we've sold over 1,000 homes here. And so I tell you what's going on in the market, but I also provide you with an education to set proper expectations so that you have the information you need to be an informed buyer, seller, or an investor. So that's what this show is all about. Now, let me just say very quickly, I've been doing the show for over 6 years. I love coming in here and talking about the radio or talking about the real estate market on the radio, but we also sell real estate. So if you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing, we'd love the opportunity to earn your business. I can be reached at 843-345-1273. That's my cell. Call or text that number, 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's my real estate website, listingsincharleston.com. Now, if you want more information on this radio show or you just want to ask me a general knowledge question, maybe help plan for an upcoming move, again, feel free to give me a call. But you can also go to the website specifically for this radio show, charlestonrealestateradio.com, and you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, all that fun stuff. So feel free to subscribe there. So I really want to get kind of straight into things because I've got a lot of ground to cover and a lot of things that I want to talk with you about. A lot's happening in this market. And while it's fresh in my mind after this real estate conference that I was in San Antonio, I figured it'd be interesting for you guys to hear what we as real estate agents are talking about behind closed doors. That's one of the cool things about this program is I give you that kind of peek behind the curtain. What are we saying to each other, and is that message being relayed to the public? And I want to start on this first because one of the coolest parts of this conference, and I had an opportunity to speak and, of course, mastermind with other agents that are in the top 1% of agents nationwide. And we had this one speaker come on. Her name is Karen X. Karen X, like Professor X from the X-Men, except she wasn't bald and in a wheelchair. So, I won't give any more pop culture references to the show. Sorry, but she has amassed over 500 million views on her videos online. And so really the topic of the conversation was how can you capture the attention of people through marketing? And so when we talk about marketing just at a very granular level, what's the most important thing to people? It's whatever's most scarce. So first that was food, right? And then it was labor. And then it became knowledge. Now, the thing that's most scarce is attention. We live in a very distracted world right now. And we have this need for instant gratification. So we are very quick to judge basically anything and everyone that is either selling us a product or offering a service. And we're just very quick to react to our environments. So, the way I was thinking about this was I was thinking about advertising agencies. And my best friend as a creative director of an advertising agency in New York. And he was talking to me about their process. They invest their own capital and resources into doing massive amounts of research about how a product works, what the need is, and then how they can come up with a message and portray it in an effective way that appeals to the consumer differently than how they've done it before. So they spend that time and energy and money up front just to pitch the idea. Sometimes just to capture the attention of a consumer for 3 seconds. which is the amount of time you have on social media, by the way, to determine whether someone's interested in watching your video or not. And so I was just thinking about this and thinking about how this applies to real estate. This reality that we're currently living in, that this instant gratification culture, and a group of people that by and large are just distracted, and I see it every day. I see it when, we're supposed to be making phone calls in the office and somebody's, on Facebook when they should be working. And that's not just in my office, that's everywhere. It's across the world at this point, I'm sure. But when I thought about how this applied to real estate, I thought about, marketing to consumers, how we position our properties to capture the attention of potential buyers. Think about it as like the curb appeal for your home. If somebody drives by it and the yard's a mess and you haven't power washed it and there's a bunch of algae growing on the side of the house, what do they think they're going to see when they get inside? Well, the same thing applies when we're marketing properties online. And I will say that we do a darn good job of it. I mean, our properties look good. And for good reason. One of my favorite sayings is, I want my properties to be the prettiest girl at the dance. It's important how people judge and react to your property when they first see it. That's why we do professional photography and videography. And we spend that time and that money up front to make our properties look as good as possible. We do the pre-listing home inspection to get some repairs out of the way. We do a free staging consultation to have a professional decorator and designer come in, just to make sure that we've laid the groundwork for a really attractive looking home when it first hits the market. But I was also thinking about this discussion, this keynote speaker, Karen X, and relaying that to really how agents try to use technology to solve problems in their business. We are a very tech-driven world right now. And a lot of real estate agents are looking for technology to replace portions of their business. And in some instances, that's a good thing. Like as an example, I'll give you the pro and the con of this. As an example, when you put your home on the market, it used to be that when somebody wanted to view one of my listings, they would have to call me and say, hey, one of my buyers wants to view your home tomorrow between 3 and 4 o'clock. And I'd say, great, I'll get back to you. Then I would call the seller, and the seller would call his wife, and then they'd call me back, and then I'd call the other agent back, and then they'd call the buyer back. And hours have gone by. And God forbid I miss a phone call because it could have been a showing on one of my listings. So my phone was actually surgically attached to my face at one point in time. No, but now, so we use a third-party company. All agents in Charleston do. So whenever somebody wants to see a house, they just go online and they say, these are the homes I want to see it. When I want to see them, this company will then reach out to the sellers. They'll coordinate everything and then get back to the seller and the listing agent to say, hey, you're or the buyer and the listing agent, excuse me, that you're confirmed. You can see the property tomorrow between 3 and 4 o'clock. And so the great thing is we have now created a system in which it is more efficient to schedule showings on properties. But here's the problem. The problem is the listing agent, the person that represents the seller, and the buyer agent, the person representing the buyer, are no longer communicating with one another before the showing occurs. So there's no pre-qualification to that showing. We don't know if they walk through the house and they like what they see, are they in a position to make an offer or not? We don't know if they have a home to sell, if they're just looking. We get people that say, well, I'll make up an example, but something we've probably heard dozens of times. Well, they're visiting some family that live in the area, and they want to get an idea of what real estate would be like should they choose to move here. And those plans could be years down the road. And they're essentially using our listing as a guinea pig to determine whether they're interested in the market or not. Now, let's say you work from home, or let's say that, the husband is at work and the wife is at home and there are 3 kids and there's a dog and you've got to clean your entire house. You got to pour everybody into a car. You have to leave for an hour and then come back. And then you find out in the feedback that, oh, hey, it's a nice house, but they're not moving here for a few years. Sooner or later, you're going to get pretty darn irritated at leaving your house and jumping through all those hoops for people that aren't ready to buy it. And so in this instance, which is driving my point here, is that we should be a tech-enabled industry. But agents are looking to solve problems as it relates to customer acquisition and processes and systems, and probably most importantly, customer service and the overall customer experience. Technology exists for agents to essentially replace certain things that can be delegated in an efficient way, but businesses are run by systems, and systems are run by people. We sometimes tend to forget as an industry that we're in the people business, which is why trustworthy, experienced, and successful agents have elements to their business that might seem somewhat, quote unquote, old school, like mine does, but it's because technology can't create a connection with our clients. There are certain things that technology just cannot do. So what people never really focus on, and here's a takeaway for you guys, what people never really focus on when interviewing an agent is, how effectively do you run your business? Do you run your business like a business? What will working with you actually look like? And yes, I'm interested in what you have to offer, but how are we going to communicate with one another? How are we going to approach decisions together? What can I expect out of you other than just your marketing platform? Which if you've sold your home recently or you're considering selling your home and you choose to interview agents, that's essentially what you get. You get a marketing monologue followed by their interpretation of the market and what it should sell for, and that's about it. And there are classes after classes and programs after programs and coaching agreements that agents can enter into that just focus solely on the presentation, on how to get your point across. And when I'm coaching my agents on my team, or what I've learned a very long time ago, is that people will work with you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. So my approach is quite different. Yes, we have all of those awesome marketing things that we do to create interest and drive traffic to your properties. Yes, we have awesome people and processes and systems. But I want to know what your goals are. I want to know how important they are to you. I want to know what happens if we don't accomplish them. And I want to give you a very clear understanding of how we're going to get from point A to point B, based on my knowledge, my experience, and what the market is telling us is happening right now. And that's, I think, a piece that a lot of agents are missing. And so when we come back, I want to explore that more. I want to talk about first-time home sellers. We talk a lot about first-time home buyers as an industry, but we don't focus that often on first-time home sellers. You really don't even consider that process until you realize you need more space or you have a reason to move into a new home. And then you say, wait a minute, I've never sold a home before. So when we come back, I'm going to talk more about that when the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. And remember, if you want to reach out to me to talk with me privately about your real estate needs or goals, my number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA.